elevation. Big blunts, dope boys wanna smoke with me. Now we ride double M's through the whole city. Niggas talking down, but they always feel me. A 9-figure nigga, all I wanna talk is business. I seen a big mouth get a closed casket. Self-made, took over the whole racket. A kilo after kilo, see who moved the most. 200-foot yacht, she wanna see the coast.
What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Goofy Investing, where we talk about investing in the stock market. This is the underground. We cover a lot of small cap, big cap companies that nobody's heard of. And that's really the joy in investing. You never know what you're going to get with these things. Today, we're going to be talking about a micro cap company for extensive purposes. This is a request per a subscriber's request. Let's dive right in. We're going to be looking at CPS Technologies Corporation, trades on the NASDAQ, $3.98 a share currently. Market cap's looking like $71.56 million. Yeah, very small company. Stock price action, charts up 182% in 1 year. Stock is a growth stock, apparently. So, I've done some analysis here. We're going to go into the nitty and gritty. Fundamentals of analysis here. We're going to be looking at a more micro cap. So the dynamic of how I'm going to be looking at this, pay attention, okay? All right, so this company's headquartered in Norton, Massachusetts. This company, for all extensive purposes, is more of a defense contractor that deals in metals and patented technologies, more so in armor and so forth. They do have some widgets that they produce as well for different little aspects of civilian sector, subway cars, electric trains, wind turbines, and so forth. More so manufacturing in the industry of technology within intermingled patented technology of manufacturing and so forth. And then have government contracts that, fill orders to them. And that's their mode of sales, or one of their primary mode of sales. All right. Speaking of sales, let's go to the financial statement. All right. Looks like sales is increasing here. A little bit bumpy here from 2022 to the trailing all the way up here. We're a little bit up and down. There's a cyclical model aspect of this. Gross profit and cost of revenues is pretty tight. We'll look at their profit margin here. 6.88%. All right. Net income margin 7.13%. We'll go to their cash flow statement. Negative EPS. We'll look on a quarterly basis, probably improving. Yep, seeing improvements in net income here. Now, let's look at some balance sheet analysis. Sniff check. We'll go to their valuation. Currently, they're trading at 2.24 trailing sales and 3.42 million on the balance sheet of cash, 108,000 of debt. Enterprise value is 68.25 million. All right. So let's take a look at some other dynamics of this. All right. Really a lot of this, and we'll get more into this. Really, I'm going to be looking at their operating margin. I'm going to look at balance sheet analysis with this smaller company to determine a price to sales multiple and see what, just right off the bat, what do I think the company's worth. Shares outstanding going up slightly. Basic weighted average shares outstanding versus diluted weighted average shares outstanding. I see no gap there. I like to see that, so I don't see any dilutive derivatives out there. Operating margin. All right. Operating income is negative. Let's look on a quarterly basis to see if that's improving. Yes, it is. All right. So they're going to profitable operating income. All right. Let's go to balance sheet analysis, more on kind of a longer term sniff check. Cash equivalents. All right. Cash is going down from 2022. We've seen decline over 50% decline in cash and cash equivalents. Let's look at their debt and see how they're managing debt. All right. Total liabilities, no debt, but the liability aspect, total liabilities is going down. Total common share equity is going up-ish in the right direction, especially from 2020. So cash per share, kind of cyclical, but in a downward trend. Um, Total debt is seeing decline. So good there. Machinery, property, plant, and equipment. Let's look at that. All right. Property, plant, and equipment is flattish. All right. So with the margin profile, let's talk about what's going on with CPS, why the stock's going up. All right. So their business model. All right. So they landed this contract about this with an aircraft carrier, and right now they're viewing more demand for orders to come in for their company through the military. They do have a patented flooring armor for helicopters going on, and they had a patented armor for aircraft carriers that happened, and they're receiving more orders there, and so forth. All right. There's so many aircraft carriers in the world, but the U.S. for this little company, the TAM on that product offering is good enough. All right. So they did one aircraft carrier. I think they got four more to do, and that may fuel sales. But and along with this company, they have some tech and IP patents. There's a scientist up on there that specializes in metal and armor for these metal distribution of military equipment and vehicles and so forth. So there is some IP and tech valuation there. That I have not assessed the IP and tech valuation of that as of yet, but let's look at the actual investment proposition, and so forth. But before we do, let's look at their leadership. All right, leadership. They're older. Me personally, my interpretation and my intro of the leadership, how they communicate on earnings calls and so forth, is they're a little bit older. They're not really, they understand what the valuation of their company is, and they can still provide value. These are old dogs now. All right. So you don't underestimate them. But typically, my impression as a growth investor that's been doing this a while is I like to look for management teams that are younger, have something to prove, on the mode and hungry for sales and so forth. All right. And that doesn't mean they can't deliver, but it's just something to consider. All right. At where they're at in their life and their strategy and how they manage businesses. All right. So, insider activity, a lot of buying from insiders all the way, going down. I mean, it's a lot of direct buying from several different directors and officers, all the way from the mid-dollar range up to the $3 range. Okay. With their orders coming in, listening to their conference call and the demand thereof, and the valuation of where this is, and we're going into me pricing the company. Right now, they're at 2.24 times sales. Let's look at quarter over quarter. Okay, quarter over quarter, year over year. Okay, year over year, we look like feels like about 25% revenue growth year over year, with gross profit improvement into the positive, almost a 180 practically, with operating income increasing into the profitable arena. Um, Operating margin is really where it's going to be for this company. And in the earnings call, they're interested in expanding margins, and then operating income should start, flipping more into the positive year over year. So you're going to get a secular tailwind of sales and order demand, which will flip the stock into positive territory as far as growth in the stock chart going up, if you will. But how much can it go up? And what do I think this company is worth? And what's the investment proposition as I digress off this short stock analysis? All right. I don't think they're worth 2.5 times sales, guys. I think this company is worth $3 a share. And I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings viewing this. It just is what it is. All right, guys. So if orders increase and they post up another year over year of 24% CAGR, you're going to top out on demand on these contracts with a macro tailwind for demand for defense. And the cyclicality of this business model and materials and so forth. I understand a majority of their materials are domestic, but they have and that'll shield them from a lot of global tariffs. But all in all, the competitors will lower their prices, raise their prices, and they will have to reciprocate off that. And with a low profit margin on a gross margin, there's not much room. There's not much room to maneuver within. Okay. So investors buying this right now, this is the investment proposition that I see. If I buy the stock now at $4, maybe the stock goes to $6. Maybe the stock goes to $6, $7 if I'm lucky. And the proposition is I'm probably selling, more of a trade into the profit injection of the internal fundamentals of their operating margin and operating profits and EPS. Okay. And you have to, the proposition, I'm gonna buy now. The orders are gonna come in. It's gonna reflect on their statement. Their OpEx may go down. Their operating income may expand. EPS will happen. This, the stock market will boost the equity up to more intrinsic value to reflect that. So low hanging fruit, you're looking $5-6, and then you sell it, and then we get another cycle of downward pressure. Me personally, as a growth investor, that's not really my strategy. I'm not interested in cigar puffs of looking at the balance sheet, property, plant, and equipment, and SG&A, and I'm with these smaller companies. That's not really my style. So it's not for me. Disclosure: I don't hold, by now, disclosure, I don't hold an equity stake in this company, so it's a non-biased assessment. All right, so take it for what it is. You know, do I think that maybe this can be a home run? Sure, it can be a home run if they come out with some crazy patented armor that's less weight, cheaper, more effective, and that is adopted mainstream to body armor of individual soldiers, to sailors, airmen, whatever, and that armor can be adopted into vehicles, a universal armor patent, and they own the patent rights, and they can license out the manufacturing blueprints and hit royalties. That is really the home run proposition of the potential of how I see this company. But I honestly don't see it happening. And even then, it takes a while to infiltrate into military contracts and so forth. So that's what I assess, guys. And looking at the fundamentals of their balance sheet, OpEx, and everything, maybe $1.50 was a little too light on what it should have been trading at. I think it should have been trading more at the $2 range for the historicals. But right now, I think we're a little bit pricing in a portion of those contracts coming in. So I hope you guys got value. Quick plug for the Patreon. If you're getting value out of this video, like and subscribe. All right. If you're learning something, like and subscribe. All right. If you want to up your game, be with a community of like-minded investors that specialize in the small and mid-cap arena, and you want to benefit off astronomical gains and learn how to do it, consider joining my Patreon. You'll get access to a great investor community, great investor development content, exclusive content, more direct access to me. I got a free trial on there, $10 a month. You really can't beat it. try to hit the free trial. If you don't like what you see, cancel it out before it charges and move on. I appreciate everybody's support on my YouTube channel as it's growing a little more here and there. And I thank you all for your interest and attention as well. With that being said, take it easy and have a good day.